Yeah, Man United, they did not deserve to even get a draw from that Tottenham match.
Yeah.
It was a huge match from Tottenham, I agree, but big, big worrying signs for Man United fans from this match with Tottenham. You lost 2-0, and the way you're playing isn't better than last season. Bruno Fernandes,
No.
Rabona, that was beautiful. Rashford one-on-one, beating the defender, that was fantastic. And then Garnacho, that didn't lead up to a penalty, which that would have been remembered. But regardless of those moments, Man United, just like they did beforehand in this new Tottenham Stadium, they have to dominate any team that's competing for top 4 against them. And Man United didn't do that. They had their first loss in this new Tottenham Stadium over the weekend. I know Erik ten Hag is now getting pressure off for this, but this is happening. Why? Why is Man United in such a bad state right now? Because they have no striker. Højlund is not playing, so I think that's a big, big problem right now. They should have Rashford on the wing. And the second problem is Mason Mount is not playing better than Eriksen last season. He is not looking fit for the role at Man United. And regardless of all those Twitter posts that I see, MN7, that will not... MN7? No, MM7. All those Instagram posts of Man United, they won't do anything, mate. Because the Man United fans are seeing Mount isn't working out with Erik ten Hag. So there are two signings that are marking Erik ten Hag's era in a bad way, which is Mason Mount and Anthony. And both these players cost the club more than 150 million pounds. So that's why they're being so judgmental. I get you.
Yeah, and you're right. I didn't even really need to say anything. You walked me right into that argument. I mean, it baffles me, and that there has not necessarily been improvement per se when it comes to the Antony or it comes to Sancho. I mean, you've still got these guys that I think United fans would like to see wake up and smell the coffee, or at least fight for the badge in a way that you saw those Spurs players fighting for the badge, right? That was a Kane-less Spurs. And you could even argue it was a strikerless Spurs if we looked at what Richarlison was, doing or not doing up there. But when it comes down to
Everything but finish.
I just don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, there have not been very good, great, solid signings from Ten Hag, at least from a development perspective of growing into it. I guess the only one that you could say so far... Yeah. I mean, Casemiro still, per the money spent, Casemiro, I believe, is the best signing that they've got so far. Lisandro Martinez did not look good in this game.
I agree. Lisandro Martinez, the butcher for many people, didn't look good with Tottenham. But it's a fact that last season, Casemiro, okay, the red cards wouldn't help, but Casemiro, Lisandro Martinez, all had a positive impact. No?
Oh, definitely. No. I'm saying they did. What I'm saying is that those that you expected to grow, they look like they took a step back. We'll just simplify it without me trying to explain my warped way of thinking here. But it doesn't look as if they're, going to be incrementally better or even much better this coming season. And I just, really, Højlund was the guy that you were looking to put everything together up here?
Yes.
I mean, Rashford looked one-dimensional.
Yes,
for the most part.
I think Højlund is the guy that you're expecting to change everything, yes. Because the moment Højlund gets into this team, Rashford then is another wing. And there's a lot of tasks that you shouldn't just ask Rashford to stay up forwards. And you can say that with Weghorst, Man United were playing better. Because Rashford was playing left wing and playing towards his strengths. And now with Højlund not being there, that can't happen. I'm more talking about, where's Martial? Where's Martial?
Right.
In a case of any injury of Højlund, it shouldn't be Rashford going striker. It should be the second striker in the team, Martial. So that I would be pointing fingers more at him. And, Mason Mount, mate. Eriksen... makes the moment Eriksen came on to this game, Man United looked better. Not much better, but better. So that itself is a worrying sign.
But I just don't understand how you spend this amount of money and you get so little Whether it's Mount, and I still think it's too early days
It's early,
to
mate.
count Mount out. But I'm talking more
Oh,
about the 200 million spent on Sancho and Anthony. Anthony just baffled me from day one, considering he 46 goal involvements in 80 or so Ajax appearances. Madueke at Chelsea had 10 less goal involvements, and he cost literally like a third of the price.
I get
And
you.
he's 2 years younger.
I get you.
And Anthony, I just think that there's bad business for the most part being done. Now, it's not like they can't do top four. They can't get to top four bad. We obviously saw that last season. That's not an issue. I just don't see how these current signings, except for maybe Onana, incrementally makes them better or makes them better than their standing last season. And as you said in the preview, that it really is all about standing pat. Right? It's about not welcoming back, but Champions League football, one, and two, standing pat in the table, and that is considered success this season. I guess I expected to see, from a qualitative standpoint, from what I'm watching, I expected to see a much more inspired display. And I got to say, even Bruno looked lost. So maybe they'll grow into it. But as of right now, I mean, Ten Hag as a recruiter, I think if we have to pick a negative, right, a big negative on his side of things, it just doesn't seem like that's his strength. What do you think?
I think a manager should be working with the board at the same time. And if he's doing all the transfers by himself, I'm giving him a thumbs up, honestly. Because before Ten Hag, they wouldn't get anything right. And at least right now, they're convincing an Onana. They're getting Lisandro Martinez that worked for one season. But you're saying more on Erik Ten Hag.
Yeah.
I'm saying more on Mount, mate. I'm saying more on Mount. A lot was spent on Mason Mount. And if you're spending that on an English international, you're expecting immediate results. And he's not showing anything better that's adding quality to this Man United team. That's why Man United fans should be putting question marks with that. But with Erik Ten Hag, please, Man United fans, don't go on top of Erik Ten Hag right now. Højlund is not there. He's still in the middle of a rebuild. Maguire is leaving. McTominay's leaving. Aaron Wan-Bissaki's trying to let him go because the law has extended. Bissaka, no. He's trying to convince teams to buy Bissaka so he can sign a proper right back. So he's in the middle of a year that he's still improving the team. I think if he's given the same time as Arteta, Man United will be in a much better spot. Because before Erik Ten Hag arrived at Man United, they ended 6th. It was their worst points total ever in the history of the club. And they needed a change. Yeah. And this is why he's here. And he's won a trophy and got Champions League football in the meantime. But tell us, what are you thinking, Man United fans, okay? What do you think it's Erik Ten Hag's fault? Do you think it's the recruitment of Erik Ten Hag? What is happening? But talking about recruitment with Man United, just ending on my end, it's Man United had a chance in the past. Man United had a chance in the past to recruit a player like Haaland with Oli. They had a chance to recruit Guardiola. They had a chance to recruit Caicedo even in the past. And they didn't. They didn't go for them. And even in Nkunku when Ralph Rangnick arrived. So you need to get to that stage, okay? And it's unrealistic for Man United fans to have the expectation that they can compete to win the Premier League this season. City's much better. Arsenal's much better. I even dare to say Newcastle is in a better place right now than Man United. Okay? They need to figure out the striker, and they must have a better midfield with Eriksen there because Mount is not looking good. Being honest.
Yeah, well, who was it that essentially thought there were too many chefs in the kitchen? Ralph Rangnick needed to go. Who was it that made that decision? That was a Ten Hag led decision. I feel like Rangnick, if he was the one pulling the strings in terms of talent identification, or at least helping Ten Hag in terms of talent identification, they'd already have a center back in beyond Johnny Evans. And now you've got Rafael Varane potentially being chased by Saudi teams. So it's really interesting to me how if, that one, Rangnick might not have been a manager, but he's certainly, you can't question his ability to identify talent,
but
right?
Sancho,
long term.
Sancho and Varane wasn't him, though. It wasn't him
No,
getting
no, no,
Sancho.
no. I understand that, but I mean, they need a new center back, absolutely, in my opinion.
I agree.
And yeah, I don't know if Mount would have been a guy that that Rangnick decides to bring in. So I just think that Rangnick would have been a nice kind of soundboard for Ten Hag, even if it was a clashing one long term. Whereas, but Ten Hag likes the control, so I
don't
get
know
it
if that's the
in one
case.
sense.
He is coaching
No,
Austria, so like I don't know if
okay.
it was a mutual. Can be better elsewhere, but tell us, what are you thinking,
Yeah.
people, about all the Man United gossip with transfers, and what do they need to improve?